Hello, my name is Mike, and I'm a library specialist at the West Regional Library. I've done some sailing in the Bahamas, and I want to tell you about a partially sunken ship I discovered when I was there. I had sailed from Biscayne Bay over to Bimini for a short vacation and decided to head south to Gun Key to explore, then spend the night at anchor before returning to Miami. But about 4 nautical miles south of Bimini, I came upon a giant wrecked ship. You can't pass up an opportunity to investigate something like this, so all of us aboard decided to anchor here and explore before sailing on to Gun Key. The SS Sapona was a concrete cargo ship built for use during World War I. It was commissioned by President Woodrow Wilson and designed by Henry Ford to serve as a troop transport to assist in the war effort. It was constructed out of cement, out of concrete, in Wilmington, North Carolina, because steel was in short supply during the war. However, by the time it was completed in 1920, the war was over, leaving the Sapona never to have a chance to live up to its design potential. After being dismissed of military duty, it was sold to Carl Fisher, one of the developers of Miami Beach, and turned it into a casino for a brief time. He had plans of eventually converting the ship into a private floating club in the Florida Keys. However, that idea was never realized. Instead, he used the ship for oil storage. The Sapona was sold again in 1924 to Bruce Bethel, a former British war captain and a liquor merchant out of Nassau, who came to be known as Bimini's rum king during the Prohibition era. He relocated the ship and used it as a sneaky spot to stash booze. He had fantasies of turning the Sapona into a floating nightclub. This is where he planned to provide drink-starved Americans from the eastern United States with rum and whiskey. At the time, the illicit liquor trafficking business was booming in the Bahamas. Much of it was traded and stored on the islands before it made its way to warehouses, speakeasies, and other hideaways along the South Florida coast. This put Bimini on the map as a smuggler's paradise. But during a hurricane in 1926, the ship, which had already run aground, was broken in half. The stern was ripped off. Sunken, shipwrecked, and boozeless, the Sapona suffered the shame of becoming target practice during World War II. United States Army Air Force and Navy brass quickly realized that the vessel could provide excellent target practice for their fighter planes and bombers. And so, day after day, warplanes would continually bombard the ship, causing it to lose most of its concrete hull. This destruction contributed to its hollowed, spooky appearance. Weirdly enough, the famous Lost Squadron, Flight 19, disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle in 1945 while returning home from a practice torpedo bombing of this ship. Target practice on the Sapona stopped shortly after that. Today, the wreck sits in 20 feet of water. Most of the concrete on the hull has been worn away by bombing and weathering. However, you can still see some of the ship's inner workings and might find an interesting souvenir from the past inside or outside the hull as you swim among the multitude of tropical fish. The wreck is both a navigational landmark for boaters and a popular scuba diving and snorkeling site. Some brave souls even dare to jump to 30 feet into the ocean from atop the ship. On my visit, we spend the day snorkeling the wreck before heading to Gun Key to overnight, then return to Florida. This was a well-spent day, and I would encourage anyone who has an opportunity to spend time at the Sapona to take it.